Going live now. Okay, hello. Apparently we're live. Hello and welcome to the class. My name's Sraddhagita and it's really nice to see you all today. I'm here with Polly, who's doing the tech. So thanks to Polly. Yeah, do drop us a line in the chat box. Let us know if you tuned in before or if you're newly tuning in and where you're from. It's always good to have a sense of where people are from. And then we get a sense of, just this huge yoga room that we're practicing in. Yeah. Yeah, drop a line and get your mat. And if you've got any of these blocks, they're always handy to have. If not, maybe a cushion, something like that you might need to sit on. Yeah, we've still got a few minutes before we start. So yeah, you've still got time to get your stuff. And yeah, come into the room. Normally we can get about 24 people in this room, and normally I'd be standing out near the door with a dana bowl, which is a bowl where people make donations if they want to. And it's a nice way of kind of greeting people, but this is another nice way of greeting people by you just putting a little message in the chat. And me having some sort of sense of you. Obviously, I can't see you, but I can have a sense of you. So yeah, do drop a line. Anyone dropped a note in the chat? Yeah. Harvey in Deptford. Harvey's a regular. Hello, Harvey. Nice to see you. Vidyadhaka just upstairs. He's quite a regular too. Great. Julia in Tottenham. Great. Richard from over the road. They're all quite close by at the moment, stretching out into London. But anyone from anywhere else? Rita says hello from the Isle of Wight. Hello, Rita from the Isle of Wight. Oh, that's great. One of our yoga team, Gavravati, actually comes from the Isle of Wight. So, yeah, it's nice that you're from the Isle of Wight. They're quite close by today. Okay. Marie is in Hoxton. Marie in Hoxton. Hi, Marie. Camille from just round the corner. Camille from just round the corner. Lots of just round the corners today. Great. Martha says hi. Hi there, Martha. Nice to see you. And Marina in Crystal Palace. Oh, hi there, Marina. Nice to see you too. So how many people have we got so far? We've got 23. 23, okay, great. So we've got room for some more, which is good. As I said, if we were here literally not in virtual sort of space, if we were here, we could have one more person. So yeah, there's room for lots more of you. So do come on into the class if you're thinking about it. If you see a little message, maybe there's a message on Instagram or something, do join us, or Twitter or something like that. If you see the message, you can still join, and it'd be great to see you. Esther Khan says hi. Hi there, Esther Khan. Nice to see you down the road. Another person from down the road. That's really lovely that we've got so many people from the local area, and also quite a lot of people who normally come to our classes today. So that's really good. Yeah, but you're all really welcome. And as I said, my name's Sraddhagita, and I'm one of the yoga teachers here at the Buddhist Center. There's a team of 4 of us who teach yoga. So you may have met the others in classes online or in these classes. So yeah, but very warm welcome. And today we're going to be looking a little bit at developing patience in our yoga practice, or cultivating patience. So last week we looked a bit at how to work with frustration. So we're going to be doing some of the same poses that we used last week, but trying to cultivate this quality of patience in the poses. So I thought we'd just start with sitting, and I'm going to read you something about patience that I like from this really good little booklet called Kshanti, So kshanti is a very beautiful word in Buddhism, and it means patience. So it's really lovely, isn't it? Kshanti. It's got a lovely sound to it. Anyway, this is a little booklet with a few talks that have been transcribed from someone called Ratnagosha. So I thought I'd just read you something because I think it applies to our yoga practice as well. So I'm going to change some of the words to do that. So we need to practice patience towards ourselves. We need to be patient with our progress in yoga. We can't force grow our yoga practice. We have to set up good conditions and keep making an effort. Then our yoga practice will grow. But it's also good to remember that we all grow and change at a different pace and in different ways. So someone else's yoga practice might look quite different to yours, but the main thing to remember is that you are growing your own yoga practice and to be patient with your own body as well. We've all got different bodies, and some bodies have certain limitations, other bodies have other limitations. So it's really good to take that into account as we practice yoga together. So the other thing that it's good to remember is that yoga is a process. It's a process of change that takes place on different levels of our being, and it also takes time. And sometimes it might not be obvious to us that we're making progress in yoga or that we're changing in yoga. Sometimes it takes someone else to see that, to point that out. And that's where going to a teacher or a class can help, and also to practice with other people because they can really reflect that back to you. So, in ideal conditions, we'd be here in this class, in this room together, and, you'd have a sense of that. But we can imaginatively still do that as well. Yep. So that's just a few things about patience. And now we're just going to sit for a few minutes, or a minute or so rather, not a few minutes, just a minute or so to center ourselves. And just having a sense of the things I've just been saying. And maybe we can just spend a moment or two tuning in with the body and the breath. And just take ourselves into account. So just notice how you're feeling, anything that's going on that you need to be aware of to practice. And if it's helpful, you might want to set a little intention for yourself, which is to keep trying to cultivate patience as you practice yoga today. That doesn't mean that you'll always be able to. You might notice little frustrations coming up, bits of impatience. But you can just notice that and then come back to trying to develop patience, perspective, and this sense of your practice of yoga being a process. And then slowly opening your eyes. We're going to start from there. So let's start on our hands and knees, starting with some gentle cat-cows. So just coming onto the hands and knees, spreading the fingers, wrists and hands roughly under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And then we're just going to just wake up and mobilize the back a little bit. So as we inhale, lift the chest and the sitting bones, maybe clawing the fingertips to protect the wrists if you want to, and then exhaling, letting the head and tail drop and rounding your spine. Inhaling, lifting the chest, lifting the heart, lifting the sitting bones, and exhaling, rounding. As you exhale, drawing the navel towards the spine. So keep going with this in your own rhythm. And just notice how the spine is moving as you bend backwards. And as you round the spine so that the head moves forward and down, just noticing those movements. And noticing the effect of these movements. You might have been sitting all morning, so it's probably a bit of a relief to just be moving the back a little bit. A couple more of these. Last one, inhaling and exhaling. And then just moving the hands forward a little bit. We're just going to draw a few circles with the hips. So bringing the chest forward and then starting to circle the hips, circling the chest a little bit as well. And it might feel a bit stiff in there, so this is good to just bring a bit of lubrication and juice, and then the other direction. So roughly about 4 or so on each side. And then walk the knees forward a little bit more, hands back. And we'll come into an opener for the shoulder and a little twist. So on the inhale, we're going to lift the left arm up towards the left. As we exhale, sort of dive that arm through the right. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Dive it through the right arm. Last one, inhaling and exhaling. So this time as we exhale, let the arm slide down as far as you can. And let the fingers of that left hand stretch out, palm upwards. Keeping your right hand near to the head if that's supportive, or you might want to take that off the ground and bring it onto your sacrum. But if that makes you feel unstable, then just keep the hand on the ground. And just take a few breaths here. And it might be that the shoulder feels quite tight and uncomfortable. So see if you can breathe with that, giving yourself time, the body time to open a little bit, to release a little bit. So being patient. One more breath. And then bringing the right hand down, bringing the left arm back. And in between sides, again, just do 3 cat-cows. So lifting the chest, exhaling, rounding, inhaling, exhaling. Last one, inhaling and exhaling. So now we're going to do the same with the right arm. And it's good to bear in mind that each side is different. So this might be the side that feels tighter. So just have that in your mind as you come to do this side, that it might not be the same. So it might be tighter or it might be more loose. You might need to be patient with this side, or you might not need to be as patient. So the inhale, lift the right arm. Exhale, let it come through the left arm. Inhale, right arm lifts, turn to the right, left, come under the left. Last one. And then this time let the right arm slide through. And have your left hand by your head face. Find your balance here. And so you want a gentle engagement of the navel, and you want the belly to be engaged. So you're not sort of dropping the belly, there's an engagement there. And then you can take that left hand onto the sacrum if that feels okay. And maybe by stretching the fingers, you can open the shoulder a little bit more. So breathe into this. And if it's tight, imagine you're breathing in space, breathing in a sense of openness, possibility of openness. We can't force the body to open, but we can encourage it with our breath, with our awareness. We can be patient with it. One more breath. Fantastic. And then bringing that left hand down, slide the right arm back, hands back to the mat. And again, 3 more cat-cows. So inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling. And then coming back again to a neutral spine. And this time we're going to do some lifts with the legs. So we're going to reach the left leg back, toes pointing down. Have a sense of this. So we're active in that leg, lifting that left thigh. So there's a sort of buoyancy, but we're not lifting too high because we want our leg to be in line with the hip. And then from here, we're going to bend the knee forwards, and then we're going to bring it out and then back. So bring the knee forwards to the chest, then outwards, and then back to that straight position again. So forwards, to the side, and back. A few more of these, forwards, to the side, and back to center, and then the other way. So again, look back at your leg if you need to, toes pointing down, sole of the foot active. And then bring the knee in to the side and then stretch the leg back out again. In to the side, stretch back out again. In, side, back out. Last one. In, side, back out. Great. And then we're going to try that with our arm as well. So we're going to lift the left leg and the right arm. And then we're going to bring knee to elbow. And then as we stretch the arm back out, we're going to see if we can bring the leg to the side and then stretch it out behind us. So elbow to knee, stretch the arm. As we stretch the arm, bring the leg sideways and then back. And this might be hard to coordinate, so notice if you're starting to feel a little bit frustrated or anything like that, and see if you can just be patient with the body, patient with the balance, and release. Well done. We'll have one go on the other side. So lifting the right leg, left arm, elbow to knee, and then straighten the left arm and bring the right knee out and then back. And then towards each other, side for the leg and then back. Elbow to knee, arm stretches out, knee stretches to the side and then back. Last one. To the side and back. And release. Well done. That's great. And then tucking the toes, lifting the hips, well, moving the hips back first actually, and then lifting the hips and coming into a downward dog and just walking out the legs. And being quite buoyant in this downward dog, so maybe coming onto the toes, Bending the knees a little bit, pedaling out the feet and the legs, clawing the fingertips if you feel like your wrists are a bit sensitive. And then let the knees drop, bring the chest forward, lower the chest, come down, spider fingers to lift up into a low cobra, draw the shoulders back, breathe, lift the chest forward, release, hands down, back into downward dog. And again, just walk out the legs. So let's do that another time. So knees down, chest comes forward, lowers down, scoop through, spider fingers, lift the chest, lift the shoulders back onto the back, strong in the feet, pressing down the feet. And release, hands down, back into downward dog. And let's do that one more time. So 3 times for this. Knees down, lower the chest forward, bring the chest down, spider fingers, bend the elbows, lift the chest, lift the heart forward, shoulders on the back, and then release, hands down, back into downward dog. So again, just walking out the legs, bouncing a little bit if you want to, and then slowly walking the feet forward, fingertips on the ground. You can have a soft bend if you need to in the knees, and then see if you can take hold of the elbows and release the back and the head, a bit like a waterfall. So letting the back kind of flow down towards the ground. You could release the arms and the hands, let them flow down towards the ground as well. Keep the feet active, the base of the big toe, the outer heel, drawing up energy from the earth. And then bring the fingertips to the ground, straighten the legs a little bit if you can, and just look forward and down so that you lengthen through the back. And then exhale, bend the knees a little bit again and draw the head and chest towards the legs. Couple more times, inhaling, lengthen. Lovely long back, exhale. Last one, inhale and exhale. And then pressing the feet, toes into the ground, using the strength of the legs to circle the arms up and reaching the arms up and bringing the hands to the heart. I'm just taking a breath here, noticing how you are, noticing the effects already of the practice. Reconnecting with that intention, if you made it, to cultivate patience. And then we're going to step back with our left leg and come into warrior two. So just turning the back toes in a little bit, bending the front leg, maybe edge the toes forward a little bit. And then we're going to cross the arms for a moment and then circle the arms up a couple of times until we bring the hands into an interlaced position with the fingers like a steeple. So just stretching up the arms in the posture, letting the front knee move more towards the little toe side of the foot. And then we're going to see if we can draw 3 circles. Circles, first of all, to the right. So stirring up the belly, as it were, and then 3 to the left. So really notice if you're feeling a bit wobbly, and notice if you get a bit frustrated or annoyed with yourself. Just try and speak to yourself kindly, even if you are a bit sort of wobbly, that's fine. And then when you've done your 3 on each side, release the arms, straighten the fingers and look down at the middle finger of the front hand. And breathe here. You might find you can release the hips a little bit more, or you might not be able to, and that's fine. Seeing if you can be patient and content with where you are, and at the same time, encouraging the body to let go, release. 2 more breaths. And then bringing the front arm onto the thigh, palm upwards, we're going to come into side angle pose. So bringing the left arm forward and around so that it comes onto the side of the head and ear almost. Palm upwards of that right hand and turn the chest. Looking, if you can, up. But if that's too much for the neck, then you can look down or you can look forward. Breathing here. Keep breathing, relax the face, and then let that left arm come down, straighten the front leg, and just come back a little bit, straighten that front leg. And then we're going to come into Trikonasana. So reaching with the right hand onto the shin or maybe further down. For some people, they might even reach in front of that right foot. But again, see if you can find a place where you can work effectively in your practice. You can still keep the shape of the pose. So if going down lower starts to compromise the posture, then better to keep the hand up a bit higher. Turn the chest a little bit. And then let that left arm come down onto the hip. Bend the front knee. I'm going to do a little hop forward and come into half moon. So fingers can be in a sort of spider shape and look down towards the ground. You can keep a soft bend in that front knee if you want to, or you can start to straighten it. And see if you can keep the back leg nice and buoyant, so you've got a lightness, active through the toes. So really setting this posture up carefully, patiently, finding our balance, and then you can start to turn the chest a little bit, turn the head, turning in the hip, lightness in that back foot. Then you can lift the arm, and then you might also look up at that arm or look to the front, lifting the back leg, active in the feet. And then we're going to lightly step back. So we've got this buoyancy, hopefully, in the back leg. Then we lightly step back and come back into Trikonasana. Great. Well done. And then bringing both the hands down, step back into a downward dog and walk out the legs. You can again come onto the toes if you want to, lift the heels, bring the heels back towards the ground, or you can do alternate legs. And then we're going to come into a plank. So you can either do this as knees, chest and chin like we've already been doing, come into a low cobra, or if you feel sufficiently warmed up and your back feels okay, you can just bring the chest forward into a plank and then lower yourselves down into chaturanga and then up dog. So you're on the tops of the toes, chest reaching forward, and then go back into downward dog. So let's do that one more time, either knees, chest and chin, or coming into plank And then lowering ourselves down, scooping through and up. Up dog and down dog. Few breaths here. And then again, walking our feet forward between the hands. Come on to the fingertips. Reach the heart forward. Elongate the spine on the inhale. As you exhale, fold in towards your legs. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And then same thing, pressing the earth away with the feet and also getting a buoyancy from the earth, using the strength of the legs to circle the arms up, bringing the hands to the heart. And again, take a breath here, take a pause, connect in with the body, the sensations in the body and the breath. And if you've lost sense of that connection with patience or kshanti, see if you can reconnect with it as we move into the second side of the standing poses. So this time we're going to step back with our right foot and we're going to come into warrior two again. So edging the front toes forward, making room for the knee. You want the knee not to be overshooting the ankle, either above the ankle or back a little bit. And then crossing the arms, we're going to lift the arms up and interlace the fingers apart from the index fingers and make this steeple. And then we're going to draw 3 circles. So it's a kind of stirring up of the belly with these circles. See if you can feel how that affects the balance as well. And then 3 circles the other way. And then release the arms, bring the hands down and let the arms radiate out from the heart into warrior two. Looking along that front hand, the middle finger, strong in the back foot, outer heel and big toe of both feet, active, engaged. One more breath. And then turning the left palm upwards, bringing the elbow onto the thigh, bringing the right arm forward, and then to the side of the head, stretching the fingers forward. And as you do that, see if you can turn the chest a little bit. For some of you, you might bring your hands further down, your left hand further down, but for others, that will compromise this sense of the turn. So either bring the hand down if that's appropriate, or leave the arm, as I'm doing, on your thigh, and then stretching. One more breath. Great. And then pressing into the feet and drawing the arm back into warrior two for a moment, and then straightening the front leg, and just making a slight step in so that you haven't got such a wide stance. And then reaching with the left arm onto the left shin or further down, and lift the right arm up into Trikonasana. Turning the chest a little bit upwards, but keeping this back hip, the right hip, turning it slightly inwards so you're not externally rotating. Drawing up energy through the feet. And then let the right arm come down to the hip, bend the front knee, and take a little hop into half moon, finding that sense of lightness. Maybe bend the front knee for a bit. Bring the fingertips or fingers onto the ground. Lift the back leg. Patiently setting up the base of this posture before turning the chest. And then maybe turn the gaze, turning the hip, active in that back leg, active in the front leg, buoyancy in the back leg, lightness, lift the arm. And breathing. And then lightly stepping back, so bending the front knee and having this real sense of a light step back into Trikonasana. And then release the right arm, bend the front leg a bit, bring the hands down and step back into the downward dog again. And take a few breaths here. Walking out the legs, either alternately or bouncing a little bit. And then bringing the chest forward into a plank, lowering down into Chaturanga, up dog, and then down dog. One more time, bringing the chest forward, lowering, up and through, and lift the chest. Might even sway a little bit. Look over the left, right shoulder rather, and then the left, and then back into downward dog. And then let the knees drop, bring the toes together, and let the hips settle back towards the heels. And stretch the arms forward. You can let the arms release onto the ground into child's pose. And breathing here. And then slowly walking the hands back towards the knees and standing up again. And we're going to come into tree pose, which Vipassana, which is a good practice for patience. It's always a good pose to do to practice patience. So bring the weight, first of all, into the left foot and just lift the right foot off the ground. And just find your balance here. Might be a bit wobbly, that's okay. See if you can sort of play a little bit in the pose, and if you do fall out at any point, then just notice how you respond to that. And bring your right foot either onto the ankle, below the knee, or above the knee, or you can bring the heel into the left inner groin. Bringing that right knee back. Bring the hands together at the heart. And this might be enough of a challenge for you in terms of your balance and just trying to practice being patient. Or it might be that this isn't enough, and that's fine. See if you can go a bit further. But see if you can find a still point where you can rest your gaze, your drishti, which can support the pose. And see if you can, oh, there's a little wobble from me. See if you can, from the belly, draw down into the earth and also upwards towards the sky. So then you can lift the arms. You can bring the hands facing each other or touching. And see if you can remember to breathe, smile, find that still point. Great. And then with that same sort of lightness that we came out of the half moon pose, see if you can lightly come back out of this pose. So bring the arms down, release the leg and let it come to the ground. And then just walk out the legs a little bit before we do the other side. Then bring the weight into the right foot. Lift the left foot up and then find where you're going to put that foot, either on the ankle, below the knee, not on the knee, could be above the knee, and then the heel into the right or the heel into the right groin, toes pointing down, establishing the pose, finding your still point to gaze at. So if you're practicing with someone else and they're wobbling, then maybe don't look at them. But you might have a tree outside your window, you could focus on the tree or something, an object that's stationary. And then when you feel ready, you can, if you want to, lift the arms and see how you respond to that challenge. Try not to hold and grip. See if you can let the buttocks release. At the same time, lifting up through the torso, so the sides of the body are stretching out. You're lifting out of the hips, lengthening the back, lengthening the arms, the fingertips, smiling, releasing, and also dropping roots down into the earth. One more breath, and then bring the hands down, and again, lightly coming out of the pose with that same sense of presence, awareness, patience, and then just walk out the legs. And then we're going to come down onto the ground again, and we're going to come into a Sphinx pose for just a few breaths, And you can either do this with the hands spread out like I'm doing, or you could bring the palms together and activate your feet. So press the tops of the feet down, press the pubic bone down, press the thighs down, and see if you can lift the chest. So this is a pose that I really like, and it's a really good pose to do if you're sitting a lot, because it's a mild back bend. If this is too much, then you can bring the elbows like this and you can come a bit lower. But if you can be here and it's not pinching your back, then be here. And just see if you can be in this pose without fidgeting. It's really easy to want to fidget in a pose or just feel that sense of restlessness. But just see if you can be here, breathing, noticing the sensations of the breath in the body, the connection that the fronts of the legs and the tops of the feet have with the mat, the connection that your forearms, elbows and hands have. And then either staying like this, or you can walk the arms forward a little bit and lift the elbows and the lower arms so that you come into what's called seal pose. This is a stronger stretch for the back. So if that pinches, just bring the elbows back down like this again. And also if your shoulders are a bit tight, you might want to widen the arms a little bit. But if you want to have a go at this, then you can press the fingers in and lift. Pressing into the pubic bone, lift the chest. And we'll just be here for a few breaths. And if you are resisting or reacting to this pose, and just notice that. Just observe that. And if the body is protesting, see if you can feel patient towards your body. And if you need to, come back to this pose, this variation of the pose. And then we're going to all release. So bring the arms down, stack them on top of each other, rest the forehead, and just ease out the hips. So move the hips a little bit from side to side. And then windscreen wipe the legs a few times. And then we're going to roll over and come into some windscreen wiping on our back. So rolling over and bringing the feet as wide as the mat, knees bent, and then just let the knees drop from side to side a few times, easing out the back and coming into a moving twist before the Shavasana. So on the inhale, bring the knees up, and on the exhale, let them release. And you can let your head move to the opposite side of the body to where the knees are going, if that's okay on your neck. Otherwise, you can just look upwards. 2 more. And then slowly stretch out the legs. Stretch out the arms. And let the whole body rest now. And Shavasana can often be a pose where we can feel restless or want to fidget or move. And of course, if we do really need to move, that's fine, but try and bring awareness into that movement. And just see if you can let the body rest without interfering with it or interfering with your breath. Just see if you can let yourself breathe, let your body lie still. You might notice all the sounds around you, the air on your skin, and the sensations of breathing. So filling up your awareness with those sensations through the senses. And if you do notice a wanting to move and you don't move, just observe what happens. That wanting to move, does it pass? Or does it just linger there? And then slowly starting to bring a little bit of movement back into your fingers and toes. Stretching the legs and arms, maybe stretching the arms overhead. And then you can bring your feet onto the ground and roll over onto your side for a moment. Just rest the head on your arm and draw the knees towards the chest. And just let yourself rest in this curled position for a moment. Close the eyes. And then gently push yourself up with your hands. And we'll come to a seated pose again. As we were at the beginning. So just closing the eyes, noticing the body in this seated position, and also how the body feels after the yoga. And take a moment to also reflect on how that practice was for you, and how you got on with cultivating patience, kshanti. Anything that you noticed or learned. And then slowly opening your eyes. So just wanted to finish by saying that the more we are able to try and practice patience, kshanti on our yoga mat, then that will also have an effect on us practicing that out in the world with the rest of our lives, whether it's our meditation practice or standing in a queue or waiting for something. The more we practice this cultivation of or development of kshanti in all areas of our life, then it becomes just much more of a quality that we have there available to us. So yeah, I really recommend trying to keep cultivating kshanti in your yoga practice, and also having that sense of yoga being a process, and with some poses maybe it's going to take a while to really feel like we've got them, or that they're sort of we feel we can really be in them for very long. I do remember that there have been certain poses in my own yoga practice that I've left and gone back to after, I don't know, even a year or 2 years. And actually I found, because I've been working on other things, I've come to them in a different way. So I think it's really good to just have that perspective. Okay, so really lovely to practice with you all again. And I hope this practice really sets up the rest of your day really well. And thank you for joining me from round the corner and further afield. Great to know that you're there doing this. And as usual, I'm just going to say that if you are able to give any donation to help us keep these yoga classes going and making them more and more available to people, either a one-off donation or a regular monthly donation, then we'd really, really appreciate it. And we have got other yoga coming up. We're going to be having a yoga intensive coming up soon. I think it's from the 15th till the 22nd of June. We might be able to check that out, perhaps put a link, but it'll definitely be on the website and on our news, newsletters that come out. So do look out for that. It'll involve mornings and afternoons, and it'd be great if you signed up for those things as well. And then we've got other plans to do workshops, maybe a weekend. Yeah, so we'll keep you posted. Okay, have a good rest of the day.